Hello! So today I wanted to share a little excerpt from the upcoming book, Trying to Make It. I'm drinking out of my little e-mug. And I reached a landmark with the book this week. I just finished writing the 14th chapter. And that was just a huge deal for me because I felt like just yesterday I was at chapter 7 and it was just eking by, and I have gotten in such a flow with the book and it's coming along so well. So I wanted to share this with you. And every Friday, I'm calling it Filming Friday now, I hop on both Instagram and Facebook at ELYSEHUGHESWRITER, and I share different things on each platform, just a little bit of, tea and talk and kitty cats, little Jaxie Panda Oreo cookie baby boy, make sure he gets in the screen. He's been hanging around a lot lately, so that's always a nice little presence in our filming. And I'll do a reading from Trying to Make It. Something that I haven't shared anywhere before, probably something I was working on that week or is kind of coming through fresh. And this little chapter that I read some parts of today, I was talking a lot about cleansing and being in different stages of my life, really having my skin, having an autoimmune skin condition called psoriasis for about 9 years now, how that has really been a visible, very present thing in my life that has actually been the greatest inspiration for me to choose self-love. And in the beginning, I felt like it was just a complete curse. Now, more than ever, I really believe that I am someone that is sensitive in the best of ways, and looking at those sensitivities and aspects of my personality, whether it be having psoriasis or being a highly sensitive person or anxiety or depression or whatever it is, really using those as open windows to ways that I can love myself more, give myself more nurture in those areas. And they are such good detectors of what's going on in my life, my work, my body, my environment, my spirit. And so that's one of the major topics of Trying to Make It, because self-love and really taking care of ourselves, through this process that we call life, to me has become absolutely life-giving and essential. So the part of the chapter that I'm going to read to you, I mention the 31 days, and that is the 31 days that I stepped away from my business and into my life. And in that time, I stepped away from social media completely, which ended up being 2 months that I stepped away from social media. And it changed everything for me. I received the inspiration. The title for Trying to Make It came to me in the shower, and the whole layout. I remember being sopping wet and just writing down how the book was going to be laid out. And I decided to take down everything that I had worked on for 3 years, and to start again as a ELYSEHUGHESWRITER, doing what I've always wanted to do, to just put my writing out there and share it with the world. And everything that has stemmed from that has had such an awareness and a clarity and a powerful, beautiful touch to it, energy about it, that I really swear by these kind of practices, because what I call self-loving practices. These things are the staples of how I function, living a creative life, having that courage and that persistence, that gentle determination to always keep starting again. And that's what I feel like it truly is about. So I'm going to read this little snippet from you and enjoy that with you today. So this is from day 12, Out of Hiding. These 31 days offered a taste of new beginning. I had the space and time to be alone, aligning with the rhythm of my keyboard and feeling like my work was worthy at a much slower pace. The process of stripping my everyday overwhelm down to self-care and writing was undeniably uncomfortable. It seemed lazy. I paddled waves of guilt when Jimmy came home from work, soul-sucked and tired. When we convened every 2 weeks before payday to address finances, and we are either behind or just scraping by. When I sat down to write and felt the nagging beliefs, I can't make a living just being an author. It's a 1,000,001 shot to get published. I failed at everything I've done, so obviously I don't have what it takes to make it. Today I was struggling with just getting out the door to take a walk around the fucking block. I rolled around in my undies, throwing an internal tantrum, thinking of all the awkward small talk I might have to make with my neighbors if I crossed the threshold. It felt pathetic. I pushed my walk time back 45 more minutes and drew the line. No more excuses. An hour later, I strapped on my Vibram toe shoes, hooked in my earbuds, and hit the pavement. The apartment complex looked increasingly shabby these days, probably because I was over it at the moment, wanting to be everywhere but here while beating myself up over doing nothing about it. After 3 years of brutal entrepreneurial pursuit, I kept very few friends, spent 95% of my time with just my cat, and had little to no tolerance for social interaction of any kind. I also sprouted superpowers that could simultaneously be identified as insanity. The more I nested into my creative cave of cat lady introversion, the more I became highly sensitive to loud noise, intense personality types, and the energy of crowds left me so wiped I spent a day horizontally under blankets to recover after workshops, markets, or just grocery shopping. I chalked up these symptoms to side effects of spiritual enlightenment or chronic exhaustion, isolation syndrome, or depression wearing different clothes. How I functioned in jobs requiring nonstop customer service baffled me. Or that my favorite pastime was stuffing myself up to the front of standing room only at punk concerts. As a kid, I picked out New York City calendars every year, romanticizing the skyscrapers and narrow streets, dreaming of one day calling it home. Now, give me a buffer of 164 acres and supply some goats. Set for life. I traced bumpers until the carports ended and vibrant necklaces of flowers layered the base of towering palms at the front entrance, taking deliberate note of how these landscape touches popped with spring. Reaching in my pocket for the front gate key, my gaze fell to the tip of my big left toe, halted as if at a rest stop for the valley between sidewalk squares. Slanted at a 45-degree angle, a shiny side portrait of Lincoln, living in copper, winking up at me. My enthusiasm was slight enough to be missed by the average onlooker, but I beamed out rainbows like a Play-Doh grinder at the reins of a zealous tot. Who cares if I'm a fucking cat lady recluse? I relaxed into my walk. You got out in the world today, Elise, and that's a win. With a pat on the back from the universe and a shiny penny in my pocket, I imagined what I would do with $1,000 and chuckled at my preferences I too often labeled as neuroses. Practicing holding my head up, I soaked in the sky. Quote, I decided that the single most subversive, revolutionary thing I could do was to show up for my life and not be ashamed. That's Anne Lamott. I hope you enjoyed this reading today from the upcoming book, Trying to Make It. And down below, I have all the links. For once a month, I actually send out an excerpt of the book, and that's going to be coming up this next week. So if you'd like to join me, it's just all at ELYSEHUGHES.com, but you can find everything down below. And I hope you enjoyed this reading today. Bye.